In 2019, my writing partner Joseph Fink and I had lined up a bunch of pitch meetings, so I flew out to LA. I rented an Airbnb near downtown. It was a one-bedroom condo. I didn't need anything fancy, and on paper, it was cheaper than a hotel with better amenities. The condo building was 3 stories tall and almost a whole city block, a huge apartment compound. And I was already a bit weirded out when I first arrived because the parking garage was mostly empty. And while most people don't loiter outside their apartments, I still had a strong vibe that almost no one lived there. In fact, that whole week, I think I saw 2 other people. My guess was that most of the renters here, or maybe even buyers of these condos, were subletting their units for Airbnb. Anyway, that wasn't the bad part. The bad part was that after my first day of driving all over the city for a handful of meetings, I arrived back at the apartment to find a note taped to the door. I read the note, and it was an eviction notice for the owner or the renter of the apartment. They had 48 hours to vacate or pay in full. I messaged my host and told them about the note. I asked for confirmation that I'm going to be safe here. And the last thing I wanted was to have all of my stuff thrown out while I was sitting in a Warner Brothers waiting room or whatever. And the host messaged back explaining to me that it was a felony to read her mail. And I said, it was not mail, it was a notice taped to the door. She got so defensive, and I spent the rest of the week going back and forth with Airbnb about the issue, never once getting any confirmation that my host wouldn't be evicted. So every morning before heading out to Burbank or Santa Monica or Culver City or wherever, I repacked my suitcase, put it in my car to take it with me just in case. I never got locked out of the apartment, though I did receive several nasty messages from my host blaming me for the horrible situation that I put her in. I ultimately, after the week was done, Airbnb refunded 50% of what I paid for. So I guess that was the value. I haven't used Airbnb since, partly because of the bad feelings I got from this incident. I feel much more secure in a hotel, but I also acknowledge that Airbnbs are generally bad for cities because of the rent crisis facing the country. Skyrocketing rent isn't just because of Airbnb, but they're certainly not helping. Basically, what I'm saying is I'm a hotel guy now, whether on a work trip to Los Angeles or a trip to the woods with my friends. I want a company that specializes in guest relations and accommodations to be in charge. And I think the Michigan State kids from Sam Raimi and I think the Michigan State kids from Sam Raimi's 1981 horror classic, The Evil Dead, would agree. There's got to be a Sheraton nearby, right? Hi, Cecil.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Have you ever slept in a haunted house or cabin or hotel? I know we've been in haunted theaters before.
I have stayed in a haunted hotel.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was in downstate Illinois.
Mm.
Like a famously haunted hotel, just like an old turn of the century hotel. It was really creepy. I put what did I put? I put like some sort of jangly thing on the doorknob so that way if the doorknob moved in the night, then it would fall off and I would theoretically wake up. It did not move.
Uh-huh.
But it was, I don't know, it was really charming. It was very beautiful. And the guy who was the manager there slash bartender told me all about the history, none of which I could remember because I was very road tired and had a lot of drinks. So I was like, yeah, that sounds super spooky. Give me another one, man.
I still have never stayed in a haunted hotel, nor felt the hauntedness of a hotel or anything like that. I don't think I've ever knowingly slept a night in a place that was haunted.
I
But I
mean, I
do.
keep hearing about this Hotel Cecil in Los Angeles.
Oh my
Is that a
God.
haunted hotel? I can't bring myself to watch this documentary because
Oh
it just looks
Jesus.
so bonkers.
That was
Is that
the
haunted or is that just like where like a lot of crazy, insane things have just happened
I think
there?
a lot of crazy, insane things have
Oh,
happened there. I
okay.
don't know that it's haunted necessarily. It might be like the Chelsea Hotel in New York City. I think it has just drawn a lot
Has a
of people
reputation.
over the years. Yes.
Yeah.
And I
She's
think
got a
like the Chelsea
reputation.
Hotel, I think Hotel Cecil is no longer a thing. I think it's still
Oh, yeah.
standing and it might have different ownership. We'd have to look
Yeah.
that up, but I do think it had reached the end of its popularity as a place
Yeah.
people wanted to pay money to stay in.
Uh-huh.
My God. Now that I say all of this intro, I will say that I've had quite a few like really shaky incidents at hotels before. I remember we were on tour in Europe one year. I think we were somewhere in like Germany or something, and we stayed at I think a Hampton Inn, or just Hampton. And I got up to my room and got all of my stuff unpacked, and then was like just laying in bed, like doing the tour app and updating stuff. And then the door just opened and this couple walked in with their suitcases and they were like, "Oh,
Oh,
you're in here." And I'm like, Yeah, I
yes, I
just checked
am.
in." They're like, "We just checked in."
We're dead.
Uh-huh. So
Are you dead too?
I had that thought too, which shook my faith in a hotel's ability to actually know which rooms are checked out and which
That
ones
yeah,
aren't.
that's going to happen. I
Yeah.
think there was a tour. There was a tour. We were in Twin Cities, I believe. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think we're in Minneapolis, and we were staying at this hotel that's like it used to be an old a nunnery,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and that definitely gave off some haunted hotel vibes.
Yeah.
It was really
Interesting.
beautiful,
I don't
but
think I was
definitely
on
I
that
was
tour.
like, I kind of felt like there was a presence in the room with me
Right.
that night.
Yes. Well, we're not in a hotel in this movie. We are in a
No,
cabin in the woods. Just
yes,
a
we are.
classic trope. Now, I have seen Evil Dead 2 a few times before. Evil Dead 2 is a very funny and gross and scary movie. And I didn't know what to expect from the Evil Dead other than I've heard people tell me it's a sequel. Evil Dead 2 is a sequel, and other people have said it's basically a remake
Yeah.
of the Evil Dead. And then just did a little cursory Wikipedia search, and it is a requel. It is a just a
Yes.
remake slash sequel. It's kind of almost like let's just reboot this thing. Quick, I just will start with this trivia thing. I didn't realize this, but so he had made this movie, and it came out like did the film, the film festival circuit in like 81 and was pretty popular. Finally got distribution in 83. Stephen King saw it and was like, "You guys, somebody's got to do something with this movie and this guy. This is great." So he started pitching around his Evil Dead 2, which was going to be Army of Darkness.
Oh,
And they were like, no, that sounds fun, but that doesn't sound like I want you to make something like what you just made,
so just make the same thing again.
which is kind of what he did. And he kind of rebooted it. And it is interesting if to compare how Ash is in each of these movies, how Bruce Campbell plays the character, the character arc. So it was a good reboot because it does get us Evil Dead 2 gets us to Army of
Oh, for
Darkness
sure.
better. But let's not talk about that. Let's just talk about the Evil Dead.
The Evil Dead.
I think the one of the things that really defines the Evil Dead for me is this opening shot, which is the camera carried low across
Yeah.
the fall
Through
leaves.
the wilderness.
Hmm. And we've got our Oldsmobile Delta 88
Oh my
filled
God.
with filled with five Michigan State students. You've got Ash, played by Bruce Campbell, and his girlfriend Linda, and Ash's sister Cheryl, and the three of them are in the back seat. Driving is Scott, and in the front passenger seat is Shelley, his girlfriend. And
How many miles per gallon do you think that car gets?
oh, I would be shocked if it was in the double digits. Be just stunned.
You're like, well, it's been 10 minutes. Got to fill up the
Uh-huh.
tank again.
Yep. And this movie very much lives by the idea of like let's try not to go 5 minutes without a scare or a
Sure.
suspense or a jump or something like that.
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's great. And
Yeah.
it's also like before we even unleash the Evil Dead, there's a sense of dread
Mm-hmm.
deep in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of it's not encroaching, it's just present.
Yes. And the thing I like about the evil in the Evil Dead franchise, or at least in the three movies of it I've seen, which are the first three, is that it's the evil in it is kind of in the halfway point between I know this doesn't quite work out timeline wise, but kind of in the halfway point of character between Pazuzu inside of Linda Blair inside of Regan, like
Uh-huh.
the mocking, cackling, laughing,
Yes.
and Freddy Krueger, right?
Oh
Like the
yeah.
ultimate like trickster type
Yeah.
of character. Because this evil just loves playing with its food.
They love trash talk.
Oh God, it's
The Evil
so
Dead
funny.
loves to trash talk the living.
Uh-huh. They're so funny. And it's such a charming, if that's the right word for a movie
Charming.
like this. It's so charming. I don't know. I find it so funny. I think it's really hilarious and stupid.
And yeah, for sure. And it doesn't do it as much in this one. Like by the second one, it really ups the game, especially
Uh-huh.
in the script. In this one, we definitely get a lot of it,
Mm-hmm.
but by the second, it's golden.
Yeah,
The architecture is here in the first one, though.
it really is. It really is. So they've got they're driving up the hill. So they've got two forces coming at them. One, it's the killer cam of this spirit through the woods racing towards them. And then from the other way on the single lane road is a giant fucking truck.
And they're going 50, 60 miles an hour down this one lane mountain highway.
And Scott driving is like, Ash, what check Google, like where where are we at?
Oh
Like
my God.
where are
I
we
love
going?
this map that Ash is using. I swear to God, they got from like an amusement park.
Uh-huh.
Like it's like a cartoon drawing of wilderness. It's like not even a map. There's like it's like when you go to like Disney World and they're like, "Oh, Tomorrowland. Oh, uh,
Uh-huh.
oh, okay. I guess we just follow this path around." That's the map they're using.
Yeah, when you stay at a hotel in kind of a touristy area, they have those like almost like placemat sized
Yes.
maps, and it's all kind of like hand drawn and cutesy with the little number code on the side.
Uh-huh. That's what they're using. He's like, well, if we're here and we cross the Tennessee border here, then we're, oh no, look out, look out, look out. They
Hilarious. And
couldn't help it. What could I do?
he they narrowly missed this truck, and Scott said, they all snap at Scott for nearly killing them all in a head-on collision with this giant truck. Scott's like, it's your fucking car, Ash. Like the steering wheel wasn't working right. Like it felt like
Something
it jerked
grabbed the
out of my
steering
hand.
wheel.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Mm. And they're talking about the cabin. They're like, "Why, Ash? Why did we get this cabin for so cheap?" And it kind of seems to imply like, did anyone actually talk to the owner of the cabin? Like, how
How
did
did
we
we
even
get
get
here?
this cabin?
Why are we doing this again? Because listen, as a resident of Western North Carolina and as a native of Eastern Tennessee, Tennessee in the winter, it's not where it's at.
No.
Like beautiful mountains, but all those leaves, they're on the ground. So you've missed leaf peeping season for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
It is cold, it is wet. That's what you get. You don't get the pretty snow like you get up north.
No. No, and this is a long fucking drive just to have a let's hang out in the cabin and
I
drink.
know. You don't get a lake. There's no lake. And even then, you'd want a lake in the like summertime when you go swimming and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they're doing like some sort of road trip kind of deal.
Yeah. It's explicable it is not,
No.
but it's a great setup. They even the bridge to get over there is real rickety. I like that it
Yeah.
says 3 ton limit. And I'm like, that's I was gonna say like a 300 pound limit on that
Yeah.
bridge. It's already like falling apart as they cross it, they get stuck for a second because some boards fall off of it. And then they get to this fucking cabin and it is dilapidated.
It's all right. I think it's okay.
It's all right. It's beaten. It's
I love the
worn.
feature of the log swing that's constantly banging at
Uh-huh.
the side of the cabin. One of my favorite things about Sam Raimi is his use of like surreal sound.
Mm-hmm.
So like sounds that should be quiet are loud in the ears of the characters and in our ears, and sounds that should be loud are quiet. So this like it's like a death knell, this like constant. banging against the side of the cabin. It's like the only thing we hear. And there's just something so ominous about it. And it
Uh-huh.
keeps going until, you know, Scott puts the key in the lock, and then somehow it just sort of stops.
And yeah, they get inside and we've got a fucked up looking deer head on the wall.
You got deer head, you got a little clock.
You got a little
Um,
clock on the wall. You've got a murder shed. There's like a
yeah,
murder shop
yep.
for doing murders and
That's your
stuff.
that's no, that's your taxidermy.
Yeah, it's your
That's
taxidermy room, but
yeah,
it's definitely the room with it's also the tool shed too. So there's like a
yes,
workbench and there's a chainsaw, there's some circle saw blades, there's some just chains hanging up and all
sure.
of that. Yeah.
That's where you do your taxidermies for your
That's
Etsy
exactly
page.
it. So we get right into it because Cheryl's sitting there and she's just sketching the clock on the wall. She's I guess she must be an art student maybe.
Yeah,
And she's sketching the clock on the wall and then it stops. Like the pendulum like stops mid-swing, not at the bottom of its arc, but at the top. And it starts chiming and the window blows open and her hand looks all dark and gray and
kind of
veiny.
veiny. Yeah,
Uh-huh. And it starts to like draw hard and like ripping the paper and it draws what I had to looking it up on Wikipedia. It's not clear to me in the image, but it's drawing the Book of the Dead is what
oh,
it's
I
drawing.
saw it. Yeah,
Okay,
no, I
great.
was like, oh, that is definitely the Book of the Dead.
Great. And then there's a trap door to the cellar there and it starts to rattle.
They're like, oh, I'm sure it's nothing.
Hmm.
Let's go make some margaritas
That's right.
and some
It,
macaroni and cheese.
yeah, it cuts immediately to the blender making its raspberry margarita or whatever. I wrote Chekhov's blender because I was certain this was going to
Yeah,
come back.
no, no,
No,
no.
did not.
I know. I love how we're like anything could be a weapon.
Yes.
We're not quite to that level of. I think that's what like one of the transition from Evil Dead 1 to Evil Dead 2 does so smartly is like, okay, we have a cabin in the woods. This is our locked box. Anything that's in the box can be used, must be used. If you introduce it, it's got to be introduced for a reason. Versus
Hmm.
this, they have like there's all sorts of glaring sort of errors and like the gun that just sort of sits there unused until the very end.
Uh-huh.
He's barricading a door when there's a window completely busted open right next to it. There's yeah, like all sorts of things that could have aided these sad 20 somethings in their
Hmm.
quest against the evil dead, but just they did not think about it.
No. It's interesting because this movie plays really hard into the notion that it's hard to when your friend becomes zombified,
Yes.
or your girlfriend becomes zombified, it's really hard to chop them up. And
Yeah.
coming off of Cemetery Man, which kind of has an element of that too.
Yeah.
Well, dinner's interrupted pretty quickly when that cellar door whips itself open.
They're like, maybe it's an animal.
Yeah,
Is that better? Is that a what?
yeah, what? Uh, Also, like Scott's like, let's go check it out. And I like Cheryl's idea. Why don't we just close it?
Yeah, just close
Just
that sucker
close
up.
it. But he goes to check it out. This movie is, I think, 85 minutes. I think it's an hour 25. I would say good 20 minutes of this movie is just people moving slowly in
Yes.
a scary space.
People just looking for things.
So Scott goes down there, doesn't come out for a while. He doesn't respond to shouts. So Ash goes down there to check it out. Scott?
Oh my
Scott, are
God.
you there?
It's my favorite horror movie trope. And by favorite, you mean my least favorite horror movie
Yes.
trope.
Because this
Scott.
early in the film, you know it's going to be a false jump scare with Scott.
Yeah.
And it is. But Scott's like, I found something. Look at this. I found a shotgun. I think it still
Uh-huh.
works.
Cute.
I found this crazy book. I
Okay.
found a dagger with this cool skull head on the handle.
Love it.
And I found a giant tape recorder. Let's bring it all upstairs and play with
I
the
mean,
things.
we were just gonna play celebrity. I mean, what else were we gonna
Right.
do?
Oh, yeah. Not another night of werewolf.
I
Fuck.
know, Jesus. Let's do this instead.
And they play the tape. And this archaeologist Raymond Nosby? No, now
Uh,
Noby? Yeah. He says, this guy's got such a great voice. I want to listen to his audiobooks. He's like, I believe I've made a great find from the Sumerian ruins. A book bound in human flesh and written in human blood. Creatures lie dormant but are never truly dead. Incantations will allow them to possess a human.
They're never fully dead. They just lie dormant.
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am, you've got Kandarian demons. I think you're gonna have to spray this whole area.
And there's a lot of arguing because Cheryl's like, just turn the fucking thing off.
Yeah, no, good for you, Cheryl. I
Yeah.
I would agree.
And Scott is such a dick about it. He's like, no, this is fun. Let's do it. And he fast forwards and hits play, and it immediately it starts playing on Raymond being like, oh, doing the chanting.
Oh no. And there's something out in the woods
Yeah, like the
that's
earth is opening up
there's like
outside.
red underneath the leaves. The chanting continues. Cheryl's flipping out. She's like, I don't like it.
Mm-mm, I'm with you, Cheryl. And then a tree just crashes through the front living room window. And Cheryl's like, I'm fucking out.
And yeah, good night.
So it's bedtime, and the two couples are like settling down to do it. And Ash and Linda, during their romantic time, he gives her like this silver necklace with like a little magnifying glass pendant on
That's
it.
nice. It's so
It's cute.
sweet.
It's
And
very
they do a
sweet.
little game where like he's closed his eyes and she tries to take the box and he looks at her, but then she look and then he closes his eyes and which is going to later be mimicked when she's a fucking demon
Uh-huh.
and she's lying on the ground and she's closed her eyes and he looks back at her and she opens her eyes and then she looks and she closes her eyes.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
Romance.
So silly. This woman playing Linda is awesome.
Oh
She's
yeah.
my favorite part of this movie.
Oh, she's the scariest of all the Evil Dead.
Yes.
Like when she comes out with that, like whatever happened to Baby Jane
Uh-huh.
smile and giggle, that's
Uh-huh.
clearly the creepiest of them all.
She's incredible. She's incredible. She's like simultaneously horrifying and really funny.
Yeah, I know.
But so that's for the couples, and we see the killer cam is lurking through, past each window. And it finally settles on Cheryl, the most vulnerable, the one who's
Mhm.
alone. And it starts uttering, join us
What?
outside the window.
I'm a joiner.
And she roams outside. She roams a really long way from this house.
This is bananas to me.
Yeah.
She's like, I know someone's out there. I heard you. Somebody's out here. I know it. I'm like, then girl, why are you out here? Is the question.
Yeah. Don't do that is my thing, really,
Like, you don't need to
honestly.
be closing up those windows, is what you need to do.
Yeah, curtains are great. Love curtains.
Even better than curtains, shutters.
Shutters, even
Lock that
better.
shit down.
Yeah.
Lock it down for the night.
You know what I love is my own apartment, just my own house here in the city.
Yes. Where any noise you hear is just some insane other person
Mm-hmm.
rather than a Kandarian demon.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, this place that's not ghosts, that's just New Yorkers.
Yeah.
And that there's a comfort in
That's
that.
just a drunk NYU student.
Well, then we get to, you know, listen,
This scene is rough.
this scene is really, really rough. This is yeah, I think this is a tough go because basically what happens is the tree branches start and vines all start racing after her. And I ultimately the information we need here. although I think it's handled so horribly. But the information is that the trees are alive.
The woods are alive. And I
Yes.
think this scare is good. Like
Yes.
in the way it's shot with like the sort of reversed film of like the vines like
Mm-hmm.
wrapping themselves, sort of shot in reverse of them unwrapping. But it's the like overt sexual nature of it and
Yeah.
the like really rapey aspect of it that
Yep.
is just unnecessary.
Yeah. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot. It's very like it's bordering like hentai porn sort of thing. Like it
Yeah.
just is it's too much. But it is you can take with that what you just heard. That's what happens to poor Cheryl here out in the
It's
woods.
1981. I mean, there's
Mhm.
even like a like at one point when they're down in the basement, they find a like the Hills Have Eyes
Yeah.
poster, like a little quarter of a Hills Have Eyes poster. So that there's that DNA of the midnight movie, the you
Yep.
know the really shocking, this is back when horror movies really were not just scary but shocking, and they
Yeah.
were like anything we can do to shock the
Yes.
sort of moral monolith that was American culture at the time. We're out there to do whether it's necessary or not. And I think it also, as much as I hate this scene, it does set up that these demons are going to attack not just your body, but your sense of safety and morality.
Yes. Yeah, I fully agree. And this movie is it is shock jock all the way. Like it is
Oh, yeah.
definitely going for the shock at all points and the laugh and the like it wants to gross you the fuck out
Oh, yeah.
and make you so uncomfortable. And that's what the scene is just doing to it's just very edgelordy.
Oh,
But
for sure.
that's what happens. But she manages to get herself free. She gets all the way back to the cabin.
She's being chased by a something in the woods.
Yep.
I love this. I love it because you never see what's chasing them in the woods.
No.
You only ever see just like trees falling from the
Yeah.
point of view of the camera. I mean, we get the classic 70s, 80s girl running trips over absolutely nothing trope. So if you had that on your drinking game, you can drink.
Uh-huh.
Girl trips over her own feet in the woods,
Yep.
drink.
Yep. Car won't start, drink.
Car won't start, drink.
Well, Ash manages to open the door for her just in time and bring her inside. And she's real roughed up looking. And
Yeah,
she's like, the trees fucking did this to me.
the woods are alive.
The
Yeah.
woods are alive. No one believes her, but Ash is very much like, you're upset and you want to go into town. She's like, take me away.
Get
I'm
me the
going
fuck
to
out of
town.
here. I want to
No,
be anywhere but here.
and no one else wants to leave because we just got there. And he's like, fine, I will drive you to town. And then we have a lot of like the car won't start for a long time. And
She's like, they won't let us leave. They won't let us
we're
leave.
going to die here. And then it finally starts and he kind of looks at her like, dummy, we're fine. But then they get up to, I was going to say they get up to the bridge, but they get up to like 400 feet away from the bridge. And Ash is like, wait here, and just leaves her in the car and wanders off.
I mean, time and space get really weird
Uh-huh.
here because it's something that's clearly like right, yeah, like 400 feet, like right in front of them. But then later, when she gets out to, you know, Ash, 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 my favorite trope.
Uh-huh.
Even though he's like, I don't know, right in front of her, he's suddenly disappeared. But like, there's a shot that I kind of love where like all of a sudden the headlights of the car are like half a mile down the road,
Yeah. Well, they discover that that bridge is completely destroyed, like
like curled
wrecked.
up on itself.
Yeah. She's like, I told you it's not going to let us go. I told you. So back at the house, they're listening to more of Dr. Raymond's tapes.
I
He's,
think it's interesting that like Ash is the only one that's listening to it. Because at this point, he's only listening in like an earpiece,
uh-huh.
which I think is just like an interesting character thing that he's the only one that's like more research. Like this stupid tape is what got us into this. Maybe this stupid tape has some answers.
And it does. It's maybe not the answer you want to hear, but it's a useful answer for the circumstances you're in, which is Dr. Raymond knows that his wife has become possessed, and the only way to kill the entity truly is to dismember its host.
Yay, dismemberment. Yay. Fun. What a fun weekend activity.
Uh-huh.
Dismember your friends.
Linda and Shelley are playing the worst card game of all time, which is guess which card I'm looking at?
Guess my card.
Guess my card.
I,
Like,
I I mean this is just so funny though because I think it's like Shelley's just totally taking the piss out of Linda. She's like, "Oh my God, it is a seven. It's clearly
mm-hmm,
not a seven.
mm-hmm.
It is a seven of spades. You get this every time." And Linda's just like, "I know. It's some sort of ESP. I'm clearly. It's just like a nice bit of lighthearted something in the middle of this dread.
Yeah.
But the dread returns as Cheryl starts talking in a real weird voice
Mm-hmm.
and is accurately calling every single card from across the room. Four of clubs, jack of diamonds, seven of spades.
Spades.
And she's
And
been she's been deadited.
she's been deadited. And she screams at them like, "You have disturbed our slumber. You will die like the others before you." And then she collapses to the floor.
Oh no. You okay, Cheryl?
Let's
I
go.
think she's just low blood sugar.
Yeah. So she needs, this is a Snickers commercial. I know this
That's it.
somewhere. Yeah.
Just give her a glass of orange juice or something.
And they go and stand over Cheryl to see what's happening. And she
Oh my
sneakily
God, this is the
grabs a
worst.
pencil.
Oh my God.
And that pencil goes right into Linda's Achilles
Oh my
tendon.
God, this is so hard to watch. It is, this is so hard to watch.
And
It
it
is
doesn't just go in. She starts like
just
curling,
like
just
digging around. She's digging
working it
all
like a
up in
crank.
there. Oh my God. Like a fucking roto-rooter
Oh,
trying to snake out a drain.
that is hard to watch. And she, throws Ash across the room, chucks Scott across the room, and Scott grabs the axe and is like using the butt of the handle to push Deadite Cheryl down into the basement where they chain it up, which is so incredible because the rest of this movie, Cheryl, the Deadite, can get the trap door open by
Yeah.
like 6 inches. So she just like sits there watching everything.
Yeah.
She's like the fucking old men in the balcony of the Muppet Show.
I know,
She's
right?
just like commenting on everything
Yep.
happening throughout.
Just hanging out, being like, you're doing that wrong. That's not how you chop wood.
um,
I also love how Ash throughout this movie is constantly being thrown into that fucking wooden bookshelf that is like 2.5 pounds and cannot get up. Like he is
yes,
underneath that bookshelf at least 3 times in this movie and cannot get his way out from underneath it.
my man, that is particle board. That is not solid oak. You are
That
fine.
is like 3 2x4s
Yeah,
at most.
yeah. Yeah, there's not even backing on that. It's
No.
hilarious. So it's a debate on what they can do. Can we stay here till morning? I don't think I can wait that long. Shelly says, like Shelly's like, we got to get out of here.
And Linda's clearly in bed because she has been, Achilles tendoned.
Uh-huh.
She's sleeping it off.
Sleeping it off. And Shelly is gonna go to bed as well, because naught else remains to do. This is
I
what
know.
we have. This is what we have.
See, I'm like, this is where, I mean, I feel like at this point, y'all need to stay within like eyesight of each other.
Yeah.
You
Shit like
know?
this happens, stay together.
Yeah. I mean, I would say stay in the main room near the fire, but you also have a demon in that room as well. A little bit creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, I would put something on top of so the demon can't like toaster strudel itself up,
Yeah.
every 3 minutes, but go into another room.
Yeah.
Safety in numbers, or at least, you can have eyes on each other.
Yeah. Well, in Shelley's room, where they've left Shelley alone, something crashes through her window and Scott goes to check on her.
She's gone.
She can't seem to find her. Oh, found her. She's in the bathroom, clawing
Uh-oh.
my face.
Oh no.
And yeah, she's full deadite now, and she pushes Scott, or I'm sorry, he pushes her. Scott pushes her into the fireplace where her head
Yes.
catches on fire.
And
But of
he's like, "Oh
course,
my God. Oh, I'm so sorry.
yeah.
Oh, geez. Oh. Pat, 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 pat."
Uh,
And she's like, "Thank you for saving me. My beautiful skin and hair was been completely burned up by those coals." I love it. Yeah, the Deadites, they're fucking with you, man.
uh-huh. And again, more of a scuffle and a fight between Scott and Deadite Shelley. And then he manages to take his hunting knife out of his belt, or just, whatever knife is in his
Well, yeah,
belt.
she's got the ceremonial dagger,
Uh-huh.
and he's got his hunting knife,
Yep.
and he tries to cut off the hand with the dagger,
Uh-huh.
and she's like, "Oh, is that what you're gonna do? Let me help." And she decides to just gnaw off her own hand. Deadites, they don't give a fuck.
They do not.
And I love this is the moment in which I think the audience and Ash and Scott are like the look on their faces when this Deadite is just gnawing off her own wrist is I think appropriate.
Yeah.
It's that moment of like, oh, true chaos demon.
Yeah.
Like they're not here. There's no plan. They're not trying to like reason with you that like this is just carnage.
Mm-hmm. Then he manages to stab her in the back with the dagger. And there's a lot of screaming,
Yeah.
and then
And
blood is pouring out the mouth of the skull on the handle of the dagger, which
dope.
is really good.
Super dope. My thing is like, I feel like if you're going to introduce a ceremonial dagger, I feel like that should be the dagger that kills the Deadites.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that feel appropriate?
It does
Like
because
if
the
you're going to find a book that brings them to life
mm-hmm.
and you also find a dagger, it feels like the dagger is the weapon that should kill them.
Agreed. Because the dagger does more than what a normal knife would do because it causes them to be incapacitated for a bit. It causes them some sort of pain.
Yeah. Like
And
they do kind of like yowl in pain
and
versus
just
just like, I don't know, when you hit them with an axe or something.
and like white shit starts shooting out of every orifice. Fucking oat milk flying out of their
Oh my
bloody
God.
stumps.
The gloopy gloppy factor.
Oof.
They're like, I'm lactose intolerant.
Oh god. Oh my
If I
god.
have even a drop of cow milk in this latte, it will leak out of my eyes.
I mean, at one point in time, we see what looks like warm polenta pouring out of one of them. I'm like,
Oh, that is
fuck.
straight up like creamed corn.
Creamed corn, yeah. It's this is like right up there with Dead Alive in terms
Yeah.
of like gag worthy shit. It's so gross. Uh, but
But it doesn't kill her.
it
That's the thing. Well,
doesn't.
that was my point, was that like I feel like this like he gets her like square in the back and it kind of incapacitates her, but one more jump scare, she's still active. And I'm like, oh man, I feel like the dagger should kill them.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, we must completely disembowel Shelley.
Yeah, they've got to completely dismember the body, and so Scott grabs the axe while she's incapacitated and starts just chopping it up. Heads
This,
and head and feet and hands and
yeah.
everything.
This is also a character building moment because we see Ash is like the one holding the axe.
Uh-huh.
And Scott's like, give me the axe. I'm gonna, take down this demon that used to be my girlfriend. And Ash is just like petrified,
Yeah.
like frozen with fear,
Yeah.
which is an interesting, I mean, it's like an interesting character building thing because I feel like one, Bruce Campbell, as we all know, is such a good actor and can handle this. Like, I mean, he's playing it to the hilt. And two, it's also like interesting to see this from a male character. Like, I feel like horror movies of this generation, Scott is much more the character archetype that we get. And to see a woman frozen in fear and being unhelpful is so much more the female character type. So to see a man like freeze in fear is kind of interesting, and to have him be our sort of final remaining character, it's just an interesting like moment in his journey.
Agreed. Yeah, I was having started with Evil Dead 2 and we'd covered Army of Darkness for this show before that Ash's character is so different in those movies.
Yeah,
But by the end of this movie, we're starting to see a little bit of that growth towards his like
yeah,
badassery.
yes.
So Scott's like, we got a barrier.
Chop it up, chop it all up.
Chop it up, barrier.
I don't like, don't bury. That's when you start a fire, man.
Yeah.
Kill it with fire. You know what
Yeah.
doesn't come back from fire?
Yeah.
Ashes.
Ashes, hard to reassemble as ash. Well, Scott tells him after they go out in the woods to bury these body parts, he says, look, I'm getting out. We got to get out of here. And Ash is like, well, Linda can't walk. He's like, well, that's your girlfriend, man. You take care of her. I'm out of here.
Dick. Where are you gonna go?
Yeah. I mean, I like his thinking because there's a lot of horror movies we've seen where I'm like, you know what? We're in a cabin. I would just make a break through those woods and take my chances that I could get away from the
Would
people.
you?
Maybe, but like in this movie, it's different because the woods are alive,
I
right?
mean, like the woods are scary.
The
Like,
woods are
and
scary.
granted, you have the full moon.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of really cool shots of the full moon.
Yeah.
So there is light to see, but if you just like pick a direction and walk, that's kind of tough.
It is tough. I think for the haunted or demon possessed thing, spirits,
Mhm.
malevolent spirits, probably stay in the house. For like home
Yeah.
invader, I think I make my break for the woods.
Oh yeah. Because
You
then
know.
you can like, yeah, if it's just another, it's like you versus another person, then it's just you're just trying to like stay really quiet.
Yeah.
People have been doing that with each other since time immemorial.
Yeah.
But if it's like demon infested woods where like the branches are trying to kill you, no.
No. Ash goes back to check in on Linda. Cheryl is just cackling at him the whole time, which is very funny. And then when he looks at her wound, we see that wound start spider veining out
In like
through her.
black. Oh,
Oh God.
Linda, no, not Linda.
No, sweet Linda. She's a fucking deadite.
I tell you, this is my favorite. She is definitely my favorite
Hmm.
Deadite. It's the white milky eyes. It's the fact that she's not like oatmeal faced like Cheryl. Like Cheryl's like gray and like gloppy oatmeal faced, which is a cool Deadite look. Don't get me
Uh-huh.
wrong. Love that for her. Love that journey for her. But the fact that Linda's kind of like a glamour puss,
Yes.
it's great. Like it's very like Sherry Moon Zombie to me.
She's got this like she's playing at the trope of the creepy little girl
Yes.
because she's sitting on the floor like legs straight out, not even
Hmm.
sitting like
Yeah, like creepy
crisscross
baby
applesauce.
doll.
Yeah, creepy baby doll look and just laughing and tilting her head and the
Yeah.
big fucking grin.
Letter to Daddy. His address is heaven above.
So Scott gets back. So this is very much like the just the demons completely embracing the chaos.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it's just they're just clapping and laughing the whole time because everything's fucked up.
Well, that's what's crazy is that like you would think demons are constantly in attack mode, but they're not. Like Linda just lets herself be dragged out, just dragged through the cabin out into the woods.
Yeah.
She's having a great old time.
Yeah. Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life, is
That's
what I
right.
say.
That's right. Try to possess the living. It's
Mm-hmm.
a job, man.
Oh,
Some
it's so
people say
much
it's a
fun.
job. Some people say it's a job. I call it a calling.
Mm-hmm. So Scott's back and he is fucked up. He's got like
Yeah.
branches sticking out of him. He's got like a compound leg fract. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just everything is fucked up
Yeah.
about this man. And he's like, Cheryl's right. It's not going to let us leave. You can get around the bridge, but the trees are alive,
Yeah.
man.
But there's a trail. There is a trail.
There is a trail, but the trees will fuck you up.
Yeah.
Linda's giggling. Scott's like, you got to kill her. Just kill
Yeah.
her, man.
She's got to go.
Cheryl says, kill her if you can, lover boy.
Oh no.
Oh, and he cannot because she turns back into her Linda self. Ash,
Ash. Oh, Ash. I'm so scared, Ash.
don't
Please
let
don't
them get
hurt me. Oh my God. Oh, Linda, thank God you're back. You're cured. Oh,
Even
oh, so much
Cheryl
better.
turns into her. We hear Cheryl's normal voice being like, Ashley, help me out of here. I am all right. I'm doing fine. Everything's fine now.
I totally believe you.
Ash does, though, and he crouches down to the cellar door and she fucking grabs him and starts smashing his face.
Love it.
Um, Linda starts giggling again, like, we're gonna get you.
So dumb. I love it. It's so good.
It's so funny, and it's so funny because they are very much playing with his confusion.
Yeah.
Because Linda just fully allows him to like drag her ass outside and just throw her out into the front lawn area and
Yeah.
slam the door shut.
Or
And
she just goes completely catatonic.
yeah, that's basically it. But she's allowing that to happen because
Yeah.
the whole time you hear the demon voice just going, useless, useless. I uh I love this thing where he is back on the couch with Scott and he's trying to give him water. And Scott is so
Oh,
clearly dead at
I
this
know.
point.
Just very dead.
Very dead.
And Ash is like, we'll get out of here, man. Hey, wouldn't it be great if you and me and Cheryl and Linda? Oh, that's right, Cheryl. Oh yeah, she
Yeah, yeah, Shelly, because it's
Shelly.
not
Oh yeah, that's
Shelly.
right. Oh yeah, didn't we? Oh yeah, we
Yeah,
chopped
we
her up.
chopped her up.
Oh,
So,
oh, maybe she's not taking that Psych 101 class next semester.
uh-uh. And of course, he realizes at this point Scott's fucking dead. And here's our big jump scare. Linda's back.
Oh
She
no,
she
Linda.
she stabs him with the dagger and then licks the blood off of it.
Yes, hot.
Hot. Cheryl's got his feet from below the basement in the struggle. He manages to get the dagger twisted behind Linda's back and pushes her down on the floor and it stabs
Kind of
her
falls
through.
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
Should
that should kill them,
yes,
but it doesn't.
it does not. But he takes her body, takes her out to the murder shed, to the taxidermy shed, chains her to the table, grabs that chainsaw.
We get it. We get that classic Sam Raimi like short montage of like percussive like chain.
Uh,
It's not quite as tight as it is in number two, but it's still
no,
there.
still very good. But he gets that chainsaw going and he's looking down at like gonna take this head off, gotta do it. But he sees that necklace and Linda looks just like Linda
I'm like,
and he
you just
can't do it.
take that necklace off. You gotta go
Mm-mm.
to town.
But he can't do it. So he
No,
drags her outside again and it's like, I'm gonna
she
bury
could
her.
bury her. Much better.
Yeah, she'll be no more trouble after this
No,
event.
she'll be fine.
He gets her buried And he sees that necklace lying on the ground. He reaches down to pick it up. Head grab.
Oh, you've been jump scared.
Uh-huh. This big struggle outside, and she's beating his ass. He's beating her ass. She's beating his ass, and she pushes him down to the ground and then just takes a flying like
I
WWE
I
leap.
fucking love
Uh-huh.
this. It's so ridiculous.
So
Flying
gross.
through the air.
Mm-hmm. And he grabs the shovel and just takes he grabs the shovel and just takes one big swing and just lops her head clean off. The head goes flying, but her body lands on top of him.
It just like spills like motor oil or like
Oh,
chocolate sauce all up in his face.
this is so gross. He gets so much shit on his face in this
Yeah.
movie.
And he's always clean in the next shot, which I think
Yes.
is hilarious.
Uh-huh.
That's one thing that they definitely improve in like 1 to 2 is like the cumulative grubbiness of Ash doesn't
Yes.
dissipate.
Yes. It's so good. It's so funny. And just disgusting. I mean,
I
this
just
movie
love that
was
it's the
unrated.
many colors of the dead.
Uh-huh.
You got red blood, you've got black blood, you've got white blood,
You've got
you've
yellow
got blue
blood.
blood, you got
Uh-huh.
yellow blood, you got blue blood.
You
What you
know,
want? You got green blood. We got it. You want corn? We got corn. You want milk? We got milk.
I don't see color. I don't care if your blood is red, black, white, yellow, made of corn. Doesn't matter to me.
I'm corn blooded. Here, look at my driver. Like I'm a corn blood donor.
Yep. So, uh, he gets back inside and he sees that the whole time this fight was happening,
That's right.
Cheryl had managed to rock that cellar door off its
Uh-oh.
hinges. So she's gone. Also, Scott is gone.
Uh-oh.
So he's like trying to lock the doors. Cheryl is outside trying to attack. He's like
Even
slamming the door on her
I
hand.
love it. He puts like this little end table in front of the door.
Well, apparently, if it's made out of the same thing that bookshelf is made out of, no one will get that door open.
It's like 3 metric tons.
Uh-huh.
Even though there's a window not but a foot and a half away that is like as large as the door that's completely wide open.
Yes.
But we shall ignore that.
He goes down into the basement because he's got the shotgun,
Yeah,
but he doesn't have shells for it. He's like, where did I see that box of shells?
that's right.
Basement. Down in the basement, there is a giant, the sewage pipe,
Yeah,
uh,
it's like all the water
PVC
pipes.
pipe, the water
Yeah,
pipes, and it is wrapped in some kind of cloth, and it is leaking blood.
yeah. Everything is leaking blood. The walls, the
Uh-huh.
electrical outlets,
Well,
the
yeah,
light
because that
bulbs.
thing bursts, and then everything fills with blood in that house.
House of Blood.
I love the visual of like blood oozing out of the wall sockets is really
I
cool
know.
because it looks like dark tears out of the
Yeah.
little faces, and the blood filling the light bulb is really cool.
And this is also where like the sound like is surreal, like compared to like, because we're seeing like many drips of blood, but it's like, it sounds like we're in a cave. I
Yeah,
don't know. It's like the sound doesn't match the space we're in,
yeah,
and it makes it just so much more creepy.
yeah. And yeah, and also that water pipe when it bursts, that blood pipe bursts and it just dumps blood. I like that he just stands in the blood as it's pouring. Even when Linda's body fell on him and pouring blood out of its neck hole, he's like, ah, as opposed to just shoving her off.
Blood shower.
Blood shower. And then there's like an old school reel-to-reel projector that turns
Hmm.
on.
And a gramophone.
Yeah, like the Victrola coming on. But he does find the shells and he gets back up them stairs. The clock is just chiming off the fucking hook. The The
The
hands are
hands are
just
spinning.
spinning.
Because there has been a lot of talk of like, we just have to make it till dawn. It's only
Uh-huh.
like an hour till dawn.
Yeah.
And then we can walk out of here.
Yeah.
How hard could it be?
Yeah. Easy. This is again like this is such a long, but it's a very creative, fun montage of images and camera angles and things like that. A lot of like upside down shots, long angular shots.
Yeah.
There's also just the effect of like the shutter slamming, the clock going crazy. He sees himself in a mirror and he
Yeah.
reaches to touch it and it just is water.
Yeah.
That's a really cool effect. He just he fully wastes a shotgun shell just at a window because he hears something
Yep.
outside. So he starts hearing noises. He's backed up against a wall. He starts hearing noises upstairs. Sounds like Linda or
Yeah.
just
She's like on the roof or
footsteps.
something.
Yeah. And then suddenly the arms crash through the wall around him
Oh
and grab him.
no.
Join us.
And he does clock her. I think this is where he like shoots her in the head, sort
Yeah,
of.
this is Cheryl. Yeah, this is, I said Linda, but yeah, Cheryl. And he shoots her in the jaw. Like it
Yeah.
just goes right through
Oof.
the side of her face.
And she kind of falls.
Yeah. And then here comes up Pop Scott.
Oh, Scott. Scott's going to cause a lot of damage.
Yeah. Scott does a lot. It should also be noted too that when he had buried Linda, when her hands popped out of the grave, she just started clawing his
I know. Yeah.
shin.
Just yeah, like ripping up his like
Woof.
half.
That's gonna be an infection, I
Oh,
think.
for sure.
And Ash gouges Scott's eyes with his
Oh.
thumbs.
Blech.
Blech. And then he ultimately his defeating of Scott, or at least sending Scott to the floor. There is a branch, just like a 1 inch diameter branch, like sticking out of his side. And Ash grabs it and yanks it out, and it is the blood plug.
It's like all of his fluids, which are yellow,
Hmm.
it's like, yeah, it's like the drain to a bath.
Yeah.
And he just sort of like blow, just like slowly deflates.
Uh-huh. But uh we've got now Cheryl is there and Scott is there. Scott is like grabbing Ash's ankles to pin him down. Cheryl comes in with the fire poker,
Oh yeah,
and it's
she's
just
just I like how I like Cheryl's casual nature.
yeah.
She's like, let's see, what shall I? Oh, hello, doop doop doo, fire poker. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Just casually taking her time,
Yep.
smacking him on the back with that fire poker.
Scott starts chewing on Ash's legs.
Ooh, that's going to be an infection.
That is definitely it. And Cheryl is just like, just taking big whacks at him with this fire poker. And he manages to somehow use Linda's necklace to hook the Book of the Dead
Yes.
and drag it towards him. And then he takes the book and chucks it into the fire.
Oh, and that seems to work
Yes.
because all the demons freeze
Freeze.
tag,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't seem happy.
No. And they start like decaying. Like in like stop motion animation, like just
I forgot about this, but this stop motion is cool as fuck.
it really is. Because their skin basically rapid decays and melts
Yeah,
off.
yeah. And then turns into cream corn,
And then turns into cream
and
corn.
then turns into cockroaches and snakes.
Uh-huh.
But we're not done
No.
because
Uh-huh.
there's a demon inside of those demons. Wait, I'm not done yet. How much would you be willing to pay for this Kandarian demon?
Uh-huh.
Now, what if I told you that inside that demon, there's three other demons? Because Scott falls on the ground and his back just like splits the fuck open, and two giant, like, fingery hands come out. And I think Cheryl, is it Cheryl? Linda?
Uh-huh.
Cheryl, I think.
Sure.
She's got like an arm coming out her front and another arm coming out her back.
It's
How much would
so
you be willing to pay for that demon?
oh, hundreds of dollars
Hundreds
for
of
that.
dollars? I can tell you that Kandarian demon, I can give that to you for 9 easy payments of 59.99.
Amazing. Where do I sign up?
And if you sign up now, you get two for the price of one.
So good. It's so creative and weird. Like this is not what I was expecting to happen at all.
Yeah,
Like such a left turn.
it's so like interdimensional, which is why I like it.
Yeah.
Because we've seen like demons possess people, but now we're seeing the like demons themselves, which
Yeah.
is something that made, like I said before, like I think like the cam through the woods, we never see what's causing those trees to fall over. We see people reacting to being chased through the woods by something, but we never see it.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing something coming out of these people,
Yeah.
but
I
they
think
don't
this
last. They don't last long, though.
no. I think this is why I liked uh one of the reasons why I didn't, really ever buy into the original The Exorcist, whereas like The
Yeah.
Exorcist 3 made more sense because The Exorcist 3, I feel like once we have this serial killer as kind of part of the whole
Uh-huh.
makeup of the storyline, there's a showmanship like with Art the Clown or Freddy Krueger
Sure.
or these Deadites in
Yeah.
this movie here that uh that the Gemini killer in The Exorcist 3 has a sense of showmanship. He wants to
Yeah.
be funny. He wants to be, I mean,
He wants
obviously, he
attention.
wants attention. And that makes more sense. Whereas, like the original Exorcist, all of that goofiness that the demon has isn't treated as goofy. It just is like, wait, your objective is just to possess the priest, to possess the world, to come back, to take over. Like, stop fucking around. Just do your fucking job.
Yeah.
Whereas these guys, like, there is no job. It's just like, I,
They're just
I'm
doing
coming
they're
back on my own terms. I'm coming into the world on my own terms, and
yeah.
I'm having a great time.
I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Live, laugh, love.
Life begins at 40. Well, they are having a great time just fucking around and doing this crazy fucking shit. And just these fucking hands coming out of these dead demon deadite bodies. And you hear the call of the voice, the join us, join us, join us. But we hear crickets
It sort of
and
fades away.
birds. And it is dawn outside. We can see light through the windows. And this is hilarious because the happiest, most triumphant
I know.
symphonic music is
I know. It's like
playing.
it's like a string quartet. Ash managed to peel himself off the floor of the cabin. Like I love that like Scott is now just like roadkill. It's just like a torn shirt and pants and just like a purple stain on the cabin floor.
Yeah. And we see, just these romantic images or like sentimental images,
Mhm.
right? Like of the dawn, of
Yes.
the bird, sounds of the birds chirping,
Mist in
symphonic
the
music.
morning.
He's holding Linda's necklace, and he emerges to the outdoors at sunrise. And that is when, once he steps outside, is when the music starts to turn sour.
Yeah.
And then Killer Cam starts up from way up the hill behind the cabin, zooms all the way to the cabin, through the cabin, out the front door. And the last image we see is Ash turning around and screaming as the camera hits his face. The end.
Eek.
Eek! So good. What a wild ride. Shall we rate this movie?
Yes, let's.
All right. So let's start with rating this for approachability. How approachable is this movie if you're horror film averse? On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the least approachable and 10 being super approachable for the horrorverse, I mean, I'm gonna have to give The Evil Dead like 2 out of 10 blood-filled light bulbs. I It's really fucking gross. It's also really funny. But we have a really violent sexual assault depicted. It's very gloopy gloppy, like that type of grossness, along with all of the blood and gore. Um, I don't know. I think the only thing that keeps me from giving it a 1 is the fact that this movie is having fun. And I think if you watched it with the right group of people, I think even if you're a horror verse, you could have a fun time with it because it is charming. This movie is charming.
Charming, so charming.
So let's say 2 out of 10 blood-filled light bulbs for approachability. To speak nothing of approachability, Cecil, how do you rate this just in general as a horror movie?
I mean, this is one of the OGs.
Hmm.
This is like I feel like a staple of the horror film world. Like it has its flaws, and
Mm,
yes, I think there's a case to be made that Evil Dead 2 is a much tighter film, you know, in a lot of the filmmaking, but this is also kind of like the spirit of that independent film of like, hey, it's me and my friends. We made a movie in the middle of the woods, and you can tell they're having fun with it. It's really creative what
yeah,
they do on very little, and that wins them so much points.
yeah,
And it's so gloopy gloppy, and it's so like has no boundaries, kind of takes your expectations and pushes them beyond that. So for that reason, like 9 out of 10
yeah.
Kundarian ceremonial daggers,
Canadian ceremonial
Canadian ceremonial
ceremonial
death
dagger.
daggers. I don't know.
Well, let's figure out what movie we're gonna watch next. You've got a scare die, I've got a style die. We'll roll those up and see what movie matches those two things. So, Cecil, on your scare die, if you roll a 1, our next movie scare is an animal. 2, a vampire. 3, wild card. 4, alien. 5, a ghost story. Or 6, our scare is psycho killer. What you got?
That's a 5.
Ghost
A
story.
ghost.
Okay, so we're gonna match up your ghost story with the style that I roll. If I roll a 1, our style is something 75% or better on a review aggregator. 2, it's got to be a one-word title. 3, a foreign language, non-English language film. 4, a period piece. Ooh, could we find period piece and ghost story, Cecil? 5, something from the 2000s. 6, splatter film. All right, let's see what we got here. I got a 1, 75% plus,
Oh,
and the ghost story.
critically acclaimed ghost story.
Well, this should not be too hard. We have already written down quite a few movies,
Ghost
and
stories are pretty classy.
ghost
Pe-
stories are very classy, and we have our Letterboxd account. We're at Random Horror 9 on Letterboxd. So if you want to, get a free Letterboxd account, follow our lists on there, and you can contribute in the comments to add movies that we may have missed. Okay, so let's go over the ones that we put on here. I think I put most of these, but let's see
Yeah.
here. Uh, The Others,
Oh, so good.
classic, classic. We've got The Devil's Backbone, Guillermo del
Yeah.
Toro, classic. Got a couple of Japanese classics here in Kwaidan and
Amazing.
Koroneko, both
Yep.
really, really classy, spooky ghost stories.
And I love it because like Kwaidan is like a couple of it's like a couple different stories, but it's all about the color story. And then Kuroneko is black and white.
Hmm.
So it's like faded black and white grays.
Um, Also put on here Oddity, which is
I don't know this one.
this is a 2024 film. It's available on Shudder right now. This is by it's an Irish film. It is by director Damien McCarthy, who did Caveat, I believe, was another film from a few years back. The brief summary is a psychic medium attempts to uncover the truth behind her sister's murder at the site of the crime. This has this is like 96% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh,
This has been
damn.
a really huge hit. This is hitting everybody's favorite horror movies of 2024
Oh
lists.
shit. Okay.
I have non-horror. I was at a show this weekend running into some old friends, and they were like, "Have you seen Oddity? You love horror movies. Have you seen it?" I watched. These are like not horror people that love this movie.
Oh.
So, it's supposed to be great. So I have that on here. Tale of Two Sisters.
Oh, so spooky.
That's really spooky and also uh kind of a classic of twist endings, shall we
Yeah.
say. That's a Korean film, by the way. We have just honorable mention, The Orphanage. Just that's one of the classy haunted house stories we've done, but we did that for our Patreon. So if you want to go watch The Orphanage,
Did we?
we did. We did
Have I
El
seen The
Orphanon.
Orphanage? Did I black out for that? I have
Uh
no memory of that episode, Jeffrey.
yeah, we did The Orphanage or am I? Am I Mandela affecting myself? But I'm
I
I'm pretty
think
sure we did the orphanage for our, I think it was a Patreon episode that we did that. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you right now. The orphanage. We did orphanage.
we
It
did.
was our April 2023
And it was last
Patreon.
year. I don't
Yep.
remember. I don't remember last year. Oh my God. I need to get psychologically
It
tested.
is episode 29 of our Patreon
Okay.
um
Okay.
things. I forget this shit all the time. Like for the when we did a deep red, I was like, we
Oh
already
yeah.
did deep red. We did deep red. Nope, we have not
No.
done this movie at all. And then finally on this list, you added this one, great addition, Carnival of Souls.
Oh yeah. Classic.
Absolute classic, just a banger. Well, let's go check out what folks over on our letterbox had to add to our story. Cecil, you want to tell me what people had to say?
Sure. Suspicious Beans recommends The Changeling from 1980, classic ghost
Of
story with George C.
course.
Scott. After a tragedy, composer John Russell moves to Seattle and rents an old mansion, but soon realizes he's not alone. Who is he sharing the house with? Some incredible quiet jump scares. I think this has like one of the most amazing like medium contact with the other side scenes that I have seen like on film.
Okay.
It's great. Squin recommends A Ghost Story from 2017 and says it isn't really horror, but very prestige.
Okay.
Tammy Silver seconds Ghost Story. And the description is the ghost of a man who dies in a train wreck watches the world play out before him. Prestige, perhaps, but also very existential horror.
Okay.
King and Commodore seconds the challenging and the changeling, not the challenging, the challenger,
Uh-huh.
the changeling and a tale of two sisters, and also recommends Talk to Me.
Of course.
A group of friends discover how to conjure spirits using an embalmed hand. They become hooked on their brand new thrill until one of them goes too far and unleashes some terrifying supernatural forces. Oh
Oh,
no, I'm addicted to ghosts, Jeffrey.
I know.
Monstrum seconds The Devil's Backbone. Oz Conway seconds Talk to Me. Cronenberg TA seconds The Devil's Backbone. Weaponized Toaster seconds Qui-Gon and The Devil's Backbone.
Sure.
Scrambles DB. Scrambles DB. Yes, I can read, I swear. Otis recommends 1408.
Okay.
John Cusack checks into a haunted hotel room against the warnings of hotel manager Samuel L. Jackson. This is a good one. It's very Stephen King. So it's
Yes.
like a skeptic, I don't believe in ghosts. Do your worst. And they do. Sandra recommends Tigers Are Not Afraid, 97% Rotten
Oh,
Tomatoes.
that's such a good movie.
Four
So good.
beautiful women, I've not seen it. Four beautiful women move to an old house inherited by the aunt of one of them and
Oh,
witness strange things. Is that the
no.
description for
No, no,
Tigers Are Not
no.
Afraid?
No, that's not Tiger. That is,
That's a
I think Sandra might have copy pasted from
that's the movie that we watched. That was
yes, that's another
yeah.
Mexican horror film.
Yes.
Um no,
Yeah,
Tigers Are
Tigers Are
Not
Not Afraid are
Afraid
about
is
like a bunch of little kids
it's
that
about
are
kids in yeah, kind of kids and drug lords in
oh,
Mexico.
are there ghosts in it?
Uh
Sorta, kinda, maybe. Is it a ghost story?
yeah, kind of. I don't
Okay.
think it's quite in the spirit of ghost story.
Okay.
It is supernatural. I think it's more about like I think it's more magical realism than it is ghost
Oh,
story.
okay. All right. Thank you for trying. Thank you for playing, Sandra.
Mhm.
Ganymede's Cup recommends The Power from 2021, a British horror film. 84% Rotten Tomatoes. 1970s London. A trainee nurse spends her first night in the hospital during power outages where she's haunted by a supernatural presence.
Love it.
Ooh, 1970s London. That sounds
Oh,
cute.
period piece. I like that.
Martin recommends Dearest Sister, 2016. A girl from the Laotian countryside moves to the big city to help her blind cousin. Thing is, her cousin can see ghosts, and they're telling her some things that could make them rich.
Oh, like those
Uh-oh.
ghosts.
Helpful ghosts. Interesting. Volatant Spiders. Volatant Spider recommends Dan, 2024. Brand new series currently airing. A boy who believes in aliens and a girl who believes in ghosts dare each other to prove each other wrong. Boy gets possessed, girl gets abducted. Insanity ensues. And
Hilarious.
Fear Street 2021. Witch
Okay.
curses a town for her hanging, possessing a resident to go berserk once every few years, and goes on a murder spree. Horror Lectures recommends Ghost Watch from 1992. 100% on Rotten Tomatoes? 100%.
Oh, calm
Wow.
down, Robbie T.
Oh
Yeah,
my God. Everyone, look, I've never seen Ghost Watch.
I haven't either.
I mean, but if everyone likes it,
Sure.
Howling Ginsberg also recommends Oddity.
Hmm.
Come for the truly Irish sense of humor. Stay for the creepy ass ghost story that will keep you guessing at every turn. Howling Ginsberg also recommends Ennie's Men from 2022. Cornish for Stone Island is a high art film where the ghosts of dead miners and sailors haunt a female biologist on the secluded coast of a Cornish island in a film thought to be the first internationally promoted film with a Cornish title.
All right.
Oh, welcome to Cornwall. Fifth Hammer recommends Lady in White,
Oh.
1988. Locked in a school closet during Halloween, 1962, a young Frank witnesses the ghost of a girl and the man who murdered her years ago. Shortly afterwards, he finds himself stalked by the killer and is soon drawn to an old house where a mysterious lady in white lives. And David Johnson also recommends Ghost Story. And apparently,
I like this comment.
if eating a pie is riveting to you, I think that's about maybe the art houseness of it.
Okay, okay, great.
I've not seen a ghost story. I think I kind of know what it's about, sort of, but I don't know what this comment means.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Okay, so I think
We got a lot.
we got a
We
lot.
got some good contenders here. Like this is an embarrassment of riches.
So we've got some classics of the
Yeah.
genre. I want to say Suspicious Beans, The Changeling, amazing. Like
Oh,
I can't believe we left that off our
yeah, I
list.
know, right? Yeah.
Uh, The Changeling, The Others, Devil's Backbone, Kwaidan, Kuroneko, Tale of Two
Yeah.
Sisters. Those are all like super great classic horror films that I think we need to get to. And as far as like contemporary ones, uh,
Oddity.
Oddity
I've still not seen
and Talk to
Talk to
Me.
Me.
Yeah, King and Common are bringing up Talk to Me and Oz Conway as well. Uh, that's also a really good one that I think would be good to cover.
I mean,
Uh,
the Cornish one, Eddie's Men, also sounds pretty
yeah, it sounds
good.
really interesting. It sounds really, really interesting.
I think
I'm really
the thing is that like I feel like we could go like classic or modern.
yeah, that's what I was
Old or
thinking.
new,
Yeah.
old or new. Something old, something new.
Do you want
I think we have much more options in the older camp than we do in the modern camp,
we
though.
do. I would say for the modern camp, I'm mostly interested in Oddity
Hmm.
and then maybe Talk to Me.
Yeah,
Oddity just because I'm hearing so much good about it.
sure.
Uh those are the two there. In terms of the classics, do we want something that is just the most high art gorgeous shit like Kwaidan or Koroneko?
I know.
Do we want something that's a little bit scarier like Devil's Backbone?
So
Do we want
tough.
something that's got the twists and turns of the others or A Tale of Two Sisters? Or
I
A Changeling is another one.
I know I love the changeling. I feel like we could take four oldies, two newies, and put them on a six-sided die.
Let's
Could we
do
narrow
that
it down to
then.
four old ones and two new ones?
Yeah. Well, our new ones, we've got The Oddity,
I think Oddity and
or
Talk to Me
Oddities,
are
not
the
The
Oddity
Oddity.
and Talk to Me are the two that are like highest on my list.
Yes. Oddity and Talk to Me. Okay. Old ones.
And out of the more classic ones,
Hmm.
let's get the Changeling on there because I would love to rewatch that. I haven't seen that in forever.
Hmm.
I'd love to watch the others.
Yep.
Um,
Kwaidan is a movie we've talked about since the start of this podcast that we've
well,
wanted
I'm
to do,
like
but
Kwaidan or Kuroneko. I think we got to pick like one or the other.
yeah.
And out of the two of them, I think Kuroneko is maybe a better ghost. No, God, am I? There's literally like one story that is like an entire ghost, like like a court of ghosts in Kwaidan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is so hard, Jeffrey.
Let's do let's do Kwaidan. Let's do
Okay.
Kaidan.
Okay.
And Devil's Backbone, Tale of Two Sisters, Carnival of Souls.
Oof. Oh man. We have one more?
Yeah,
Are you writing these down? I'm
I
just
am.
saying names. Okay,
I
good.
am.
We have one more slot.
We have one more slot. That's five.
Devil's Backbone.
Devil's Backbone. Okay. Cecil, you want to roll for
Yeah.
this? Because I
Yep.
think I flipped the coin for this last movie.
Yep.
So if you roll a one, we're going to watch Oddity. If you roll a two, we're going to watch Talk to Me. If you roll a three, we're going to watch The Changeling. Four, The Others. Five, Kaidan. Or six, Devil's Backbone. What you got?
That's a six.
We're going to watch Devil's Backbone, Cecil.
Ooh, classic. That's a good one.
Uh,
I haven't seen this movie since it came out in theaters.
oh, wow. Yeah, I maybe watched this movie 15 years ago yeah. It's been a hot minute. So, oh, you know what? I remember getting this is one of the first movies I watched through Netflix the DVD times.
Oh, you got the
I got the
DVD
DVD
rotation.
in the mail and watched this movie. So
Oh,
it's
those
been
were the
a bit.
days.
Okay. Well, that was fun. Such good movies. I wish I could see them all, but I refuse to watch movies if I'm not doing the show.
That's
That's a
it.
lie.
I close my eyes and I plug my ears.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Cecil, for talking with me. If you have thoughts on The Evil Dead or ideas for other movies that would have been good, 75% plus meets Ghost Story, let us know. We're at Random Horror 9 on Instagram and on our Patreon. We have public discussion threads for each episode. You don't have to be a paying member to be involved in those. So watch The Devil's Backbone with us this week and come on back next Tuesday for a new episode. Have a restful night with no Books of the Dead in your Airbnb or nothing. Boo.
Boo!